These are the most useless inventions I've ever seen. Let's begin. Number 1. Marty the Giant Robot. At a grocery store called Giant, there is a new employee that the other employees rarely like, and his name is Marty. Now, you might be saying to yourself, but he's so cute, how could you not like Marty? Well, I'll tell you exactly why nobody likes Marty. Because Marty's a freeloading piece of crap, that's why. To explain it to you best, let me just read the original Reddit comment that I discovered this robot from, and I quote, "So, in my Giant store, they have a robot that randomly turns on and rolls around the store looking for messes, and when it finds one, it just stands there and does nothing, just standing there waiting for someone to clean up the mess." End quote. So, from the looks of things, the engineers designed the robot to scan the floor for messes, but when it comes to actually cleaning it up, well, that was too complicated. So they just designed it to call for a human to do it instead. Now, at first when I heard this, I was like, well, okay, that's a pretty useless robot, but it's just trying its best to do what it can. But I was wrong because it gets so much worse. One commenter on YouTube wrote, quote, "According to a friend of mine who is an employee, Marty starts a timer when he pages for a cleanup. If the timer runs out and an employee hasn't responded to help clean up, Marty reports it and people get in trouble. Marty is an effing narc." Damn, come to think of it, this robot's starting to sound a lot like a mother-in-law. Spends hours walking around the house looking for something wrong, finds a small mess, calls someone else to clean it up, and then if they don't come by fast enough, gets them in trouble. Another commenter said that their robot often knocks stuff down from the aisles, which basically means that it creates problems and doesn't even try to fix them. Other users say that Giant is always packed full of people, but here we've got this useless $35,000 moving refrigerator that aimlessly takes up space in the aisles for hours at a time, all in the name of safety. On top of that, this wandering professional useless person has been said to scare the living daylights out of customers, especially at night. One YouTube comment said, "I saw this at the Stop and Shop today, and I was like, what the hell is that?" Now, call me crazy, but I feel like you could easily achieve all of this and more for a fraction of the price with a homeless person. Simply offer him a place to stay in the pillow aisle, or pay him a couple of Modelos a day, and he'll do everything the robot does for free. Roam around the grocery store? Check. Create messes? Check. Start squawking until someone else cleans the mess up? Sure. Scare the shit out of everyone at 10 o'clock at night? Check. And that will only cost you 2 Modelos a day, so that's like $6. Also, this thing is literally 6 feet tall and 140 pounds. Are we really sure that we couldn't fit a vacuum anywhere in here? Either way, this is definitely the most useless robot I've ever heard of in my life, and all for just the yearly salary of one hardworking employee, $35,000. What a steal. Oh, and don't forget maintenance fees. I give this a 2.5 out of 10. Number 2. The Anti-Eating Face Mask. In 1982, Lucy Barmby got tired of not losing any weight, so she filed U.S. patent number 4,344,424, a metal face grate that locks to your face, which still allows you to speak and breathe without allowing its user to eat. The mask is locked with a key, so it would be practically impossible to remove without some type of heavy-duty tools. The reason this invention is useless, though, is that it's entirely possible to still eat with the proposed design. I mean, all you really need to do is slice whatever you're eating really thin and then stick it through the grate, or blend it into a smoothie and drink it through a straw. And if you think that's ridiculous, I think you underestimate the dedication and sheer will of a hungry fat man at 1 o'clock in the morning. Not to mention, anyone who wears this thing in public will probably get animal control called on them. Number 3. Centrifugal birth machine. Yes, I read that correctly. I don't even know where to start with this one. So basically, this guy named George B. Blonsky made a patent in 1965, and I think it might be the dumbest invention I've ever seen in my life. In a nutshell, the story goes that George B. Blonsky graduated from MIT in 1926, and from there he became an engineer. One day in the 1960s, he was at the zoo in New York City, and he saw an elephant being spun while giving birth. So this mad lad decided to invent a machine to do the same thing to humans. His patent says, quote, "In the case of a woman who has a fully developed muscular system and has ample physical exertion all through the pregnancy, as is common with all the more primitive peoples, nature provides all the necessary equipment and power to have a normal and quick delivery. This is not the case, however, with more civilized women, who often do not have the opportunity to develop the muscles needed in confinement. Okay, whatever that means. Anyways, his patent drawings looked more like a medieval torture device than a, quote, comfortable and easy way to give birth, end quote. And his machine's alleged speeds were even more scary. One article on the matter said, quote, when a woman was ready to deliver, she would be strapped down in the lithotomy position, then spun at high speed, up to 7 Gs, end quote. Okay, just for some context, the G-forces at which pilots and astronauts tend to black out is 4 to 5 Gs. And this mad lad wanted to spin a pregnant woman at 7. Even if the device worked, I'm pretty sure the baby would become a pilot itself because it would probably just fly away. Like, this guy inadvertently made a patent for a baby catapult. Now, obviously, experts agree that this would result in the woman passing out, which basically means that this invention takes a woman going through the most intense pain of her life and says, let's throw her on one of those astronaut training machines. Maybe the baby will just fly out or something. What's even funnier about this machine is that it had an emergency stop lever, but at 7 Gs of force, the inventor never considered the fact that no human being would be strong enough to reach it, which basically means that the doctors would just be sitting around to watch a woman in labor spinning like a pregnant Beyblade. By the way, this wasn't just a funny machine that George made for shits and giggles. This was a serious invention that he 100% believed in. He made an 80-page document explaining everything about his machine, including exactly how to make it, how it works on a physical level, and even goes into detail about the baby net, which was apparently an elastic net meant to catch the baby when it flies away. I guess all of this proves that being street smart and book smart are two very different things. Also, someone commented Yeetus fetus, 5 out of 10. Number 4, the Beerbrella. In 2001, 3 inventors, Mason McNolan, Robert Bell, and Mark C., invented this idiotic, lollygagging piece of doohickery called the beer umbrella. Now, why the F did it take 3 people to invent this? I don't know. Albert Einstein invented the theory of relativity all by himself, and this trio, the beer umbrella. Honestly, don't even know how something like this actually got patented. Like, I wouldn't even pass the science fair in high school with a project like this, and yet the US Patent Office saw this 3-person group effort and thought, yep, this beer umbrella doohickey thingamabobber doodad who's it or what's it totally has potential. But the worst part about the invention is that the patenters aren't even sure what their invention is for. They say this useless beer umbrella is meant to protect the beer from the sun, but never address why that matters. Like, are we trying to keep the beer from getting sunburnt or something? Even if we take the most practical use case, which is keeping your beer from warming up in the sun, it's still stupid because the patent requires the beer to have an insulating case for the umbrella to even attach to. Additionally, this could easily have been solved with ice. And finally, the worst part about this lackluster invention is that even if you take away all of these factors that I just mentioned, the beer umbrella still wouldn't work because the umbrella would only cast a shadow on the beer for 1 hour in the middle of the day, and for the rest of the day, the sun would still reach the beer. They tried to fix this by adding a hinge, but stupidly made the umbrella so high that the shadow still wouldn't touch the beer anyways. And to top it all off, the most insulting part about this moronic invention is that in the absence of a good justification for this umbrella, they say, quote, suitable advertising and or logos may be applied to the umbrella surface for promotional purposes, end quote. So there you have it. This invention is quite literally one of the most useless inventions ever made, and its sole purpose is pretty much to put ads in your face on your relaxing day off. 2 out of 10. Number 5. The Juicero. The Juicero truly must be one of the most useless inventions in history. Nothing about this $700 piece of junk even remotely makes any sense at all. In fact, it's so bad that for a second while writing this, I wasn't sure if it would fit better in the scam category. But no, this isn't actually a scam. Instead, it's just the most idiotically useless invention ever made. So how does the Juicero work? Well, actually, it's really simple. In order to get a cup of juice, all you gotta do is buy the machine for $700, get on their subscription plan that starts at $140 a month, connect your Juicero to Wi-Fi for some reason, download the Juicero app on your smartphone, connect the app to your Juicero, wait a week for your $30 juice pack to come in, scan the QR code of the juice pack into the machine, put your juice pack in the machine and wait. And after only 2 minutes, your 8-ounce cup of juice will be ready. Total cost, $840 for an 8-ounce cup of juice. Okay, now let's compare that to the time I was on a trip in Mexico and got some even fresher squeezed juice. All you gotta do for this is walk to the juice spot in the tropical sun. Free. Pet a friendly stray dog on the street. Free. A beautiful girl greets you and asks you what you want. Free. You proceed to practice some Spanish. Free. You choose a glass of orange and mango juice for about $2. 2 minutes later, it's done. It ends up being way bigger than you thought it would be, around 24 ounces, 3 times more juice than the Juicero gave you. The cute girl at the counter asks you a couple questions and you have an interesting conversation. Free. Total cost, $2. Yeah, considering even in America, a cup of fresh juice at a luxury juice spot only costs around $12, I would wager that this machine is truly irredeemably useless. But believe it or not, the Juicero is even worse than what I just described because it isn't just expensive, it's also completely useless in the most fundamental sense of the word. For one, the machine itself required a subscription service to work. So just to be clear, the machine was perfectly capable of doing everything you needed it to do if you didn't pay the subscription. It just wouldn't do it because you didn't pay. That would be like if you paid $700 for a bike, but unless you forked over $100 a month, it refused to let you turn its pedals. I mean, at that point, do you even own the bike or are you just renting it? To add insult to injury, you couldn't even drink your juice packs at your own pace, because the machine and the subscription pretty much force-fed you your weekly juice. Because if your juice pack was over a week old, the machine would straight up refuse to process it. So, because your juice was sent to you weekly, that means you had to drink your juice within a week of it being sent to you, or else the machine would refuse to give it to you. Now, you might be saying, that's a good thing. The machine is just looking out for you to make sure that you don't get food poisoning. Actually, that's wrong. Investigative journalists later found out that the juice had the same expiration date as any other concentrate-based juice on the market, which is definitely longer than just 7 days. But wait, it gets even stupider than that somehow. The Juicero didn't actually use any advanced technology to make your juice. In fact, it didn't make anything. Neither did it process anything or transform anything. The Juicero was a $700 robot whose sole purpose was to squeeze a pack of juice. You see, the subscription service bought you your packs of juice already ready to drink. The Juicero's only purpose was to cost $700 and justify your subscription service by forcing customers to drink their juice within a week and break on the customer if they ever stopped paying their subscription. And when I say it just squeezed the juice, I mean it just squeezed the juice. Like, it just squeezed already prepared juice out of the pack. Basically, what I'm saying is that you could have made the same machine with a couple of Legos and a Capri Sun. In fact, one journalist realized this and found out that he could actually squeeze the juice out 30 seconds faster just by using his hands. So yeah, Juicero is basically a company that could have achieved the exact same thing by selling bottles of juice, but then nobody would have bought that expensive subscription. 0 out of 10, absolutely useless. Anyways, this has been my list of the most useless inventions of all time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.